And welcome to special VADA live coverage at the Omni Homestead for the convention. And I'm joined by a speaker at this year's convention, Joe St. John with AutoFi. And Joe, I have to ask, we're here in the convention itself. What's it like to be here this year?
Yeah, I gotta say, this is a really wild and unbelievable convention. I deeply love it. I go to a lot of these events all the time, all over, and VADA does it right. Like, from the speakers that you have here, I mean, I'm excited to hear Stephen Greenfield's a bit later, really excited to hear Katie tomorrow. Like, the group that you bring out here is really, really, really world class. And then on top of that, the events that you put on have been wildly fun. I actually brought my family this year because there is a family event kind of element to this that makes it really great to be able to do in kind of a business context as well. And so for me, I can't say enough good things about the VADA conference, and if you're a Virginia auto dealer, you definitely need to come check this out.
What do you think makes this place so special? What's the differentiating factor with all of it?
I would say the attention to detail that Ms. Toller puts on everything, and the way that there's something about it that's there's something that's more relaxed. So a lot of these conferences you go to, you have a lot of there's just an element to it that I think people get tired of. And here, like last night's June-toberfest, it was like a giant Oktoberfest party with kids running around and people making balloon animals and a live polka band. It was awesome. And you don't typically get that. You get the airline chicken made by the hotel and the asparagus and plain, the breakfast this morning was incredible. The conversations I'm having with dealers has been incredible. I just think it's a really well done, it's an enjoyable thing. The other thing is that the level of insights that your speakers are bringing, I mean, Stephen Greenfield, that guy is on the very bleeding edge of what's happening in the world of technology and acquisitions. I mean, the Presidio group, you have people coming that can give you real insight in what's happening in the marketplace from a dealership valuation perspective, from a technology perspective. Katie Maris, unbelievable when it comes to breaking down customer experience in a very human terms and giving dealers a lot of data and a lot of science to back up why things are the way that they are and what you can do about that. And I think it's the other thing in here is it really feels action oriented. It's not just, here's a bunch of knowledge, it's here's a bunch of knowledge and here's what it means and here's what you can do with it. And so for me, it's been a wildly great and effective conference so far. And I hope to come back someday.
As far as your talk today, what was that one thing as you were putting together your plan, your presentation, that you wanted dealers to leave with after you presented here this year?
Yeah, that the same automation that is changing lots of other businesses and making them better and more efficient and bringing out really unlocking the potential of the humans that work in those businesses can be applied in our business in really meaningful ways. And I wanted to show them examples of things that we're not automating that we could automate through technology companies like mine and some of the others here that will unlock that real value of the 23-year-old that just started selling cars at your dealership. My goal in life is to make that kid a superhero.
Where do you think within your discussion, what was really hitting home? I know AI is definitely something a part of that, the digital side, but within your talk, was there something you said, oh my gosh, this is definitely resonating with dealers now?
Yeah, I think it's interesting for me whenever I present, and especially here, as I'm talking through the reality of working a car deal, how much everyone laughs and is oh yeah, that's exactly how it goes. And we uncomfortably laugh because we know that it's not delivering what our customer wants, and it's actually not delivering what our team and people want. And I think that one of the things I love that KE said early, which was the first speaker, that I thought was really brilliant was, there's two things that really matter, my customers and my team. And as I'm going through, I think we're all uncomfortably laughing because what we're delivering a lot of times is making both of those groups very unhappy. And I truly believe it doesn't have to be that way. You can deliver an unbelievable customer experience. I work with dealers all the time that are incredible dealers that everything they do, it's like Jeff Bezos from Amazon said in the 90s, right? There's one thing that Amazon.com obsesses about, It's do we deliver the best customer experience end to end, right? Because there's never any misalignment between customer interests and shareholder interests. And I think that the dealers that adopt that mindset can really stand to grow market share, grow their empire, get more dealerships, because that culture fuses through the people and their existing stores become talent factories that feed their growth. And so for me, it was interesting to see everybody's kind of like laughing at those things and uncomfortably, and then like, I would say nodding along when they're seeing that there's other ways of doing this that maybe they haven't thought of before.
Is that how you really crafted your presentation of, okay, there's this baseline of things you can be doing, of course technology is part of that, but here are some little breadcrumbs to make that actionable and adopt, is that part of it?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things that's really hard in this business is we really like bifurcate the selling of a car and what our sales managers and salespeople ever do, and like the technology and the internet department and the marketing, and I think that we like separate these things out. So what happens is we like, something comes in that's technology based, we turn it over to our like internet guy, like, oh, just give that to Hans, he'll take care of it for you. And for me, I think that that's where the miss is. Everybody that basically buys a car online at a dealership in America today shows up to the dealership and we treat them as if we know nothing about them. We start them back over at square one and we put them through the exact selling process they were trying to avoid. And so for me, I think that that those two things really coming together are a big part of how a dealer can really deliver like enterprise value in this new world we're in.
What's that first step though? Because when you talk about shifts and changes and integration, sometimes getting that off the ground is what step one, getting it to stay, step 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe.
So I lead the customer organization at AutoFi. We have a giant team of people. A big part of what we do, we call change management. And I don't know step one for dealer, I know step one for me. And step one for our team when they go in is to clearly define the why and align everyone around what the system and process is that we're going to deliver that why through. So before we will even install software, we are aligning with the GSM and the GM around the sales process that the dealership hopes to deliver. And then we are teaching and training everything we do to that process. I think it's like the first speaker said, they're going to do what you allow them to do. And I don't think that systems and processes necessarily means like the 12 steps to the sale that we write up and put on our like, conference room wall. It's what actually happens every time we're selling a car. Like what is actually happening every time. That is what our process is. And I'm lucky enough to come out of a store that was super process driven. I penciled a car deal basically the exact same way every time because I was scared of not doing it that way. I literally stapled my paperwork in the same order, it went in the same bin. I had these 3 copies that went, it was a little machine of how it was done. And I didn't know until we bought a dealership and I took over that not everybody operated that way. Because it was just so infused in I thought that's what the car business was. No, that's how my dealership operated. And I think that there's a lot of that where leadership gets complacent or overwhelmed or busy or, on focusing on the wrong outcomes or the wrong priorities. And we let all these little things slide, and the next thing you know, we're selling below where we should, and our paperwork's a nightmare, our CIT's out of control. It's like all these things can trickle down from that. And so for me, I think the number one step is clearly defining who you want to be as a dealer and where you want to go. So strategy for me is, where you want to go, and tactics is how are we going to get there. And for me, I think that step number one is have a clear strategy around what your identity is.
What's next for you? We're at the convention, I guess, personally, professionally, what's next after this? And really from the AutoFi side of things, is there anything you're taking away, back from this too?
Yeah, so what's awesome for me is I'm leaving here, headed to a large dealer group up in New York. They're unbelievable. Every time I'm there, I feel like I learn about how unbelievably well run dealerships operate. I get to be here for the rest of today and I leave tomorrow. I'm really excited to have some conversations. There's people wanting to talk afterwards about what they're seeing in their markets. One of my favorite dealers happens to be in Virginia, Kayla Cody at Richmond Ford. They do things right. They're very creative, very cutting edge. They've been a long-term partner of ours. And so I have I would say part of where our showroom journey started was in Richmond. And so for me, it's been a real pleasure getting to come to Virginia and spend time with incredible dealers.
Well, you've been watching VADA Live and hearing from Joe St. John at AutoFi. I'm Dan Kerrigan. We'll see you next time.